What's going on, everybody? So obviously, I go by Book Dad, but my name is Leo. Here with Charles Chapters. And if you guys didn't check out episode one, this is episode two of Book Talk, where we get on TikTok live and we talk with some of your favorite indie authors and your favorite TikTok and Book Talk creators about just the books they're reading, the books they're writing, learn a little bit about their personal life, and anything else that may come up, any questions you guys may have. So obviously today we are here with David Gulasi, the one and only, the author of 1041, one of the most problematic books you'll see here on TikTok. So David, thank you for joining us. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, guys. I'm super excited to be on your show, and you guys have been doing so well with this episode two. Episode one I've seen, it was awesome, and now this. It's hard to follow up from that, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to it today. Honestly, I really am.
Likewise, yeah. Man, one of the things that has been cool for us is, so obviously, we both have 1041, we've both read it, but like we had connected with you through like multiple group chats before you even wrote 1041. So it was kind of cool because Charles and I got to see a little bit of the back end and have conversations with you as you were going through that process and kind of the journey there. So that was, for us, that was pretty awesome. And now to see that it's out and, potentially more books down the road, we're excited.
I, I have to say it was really, as Book Dad saying, we kind of knew you before you even started writing 1041, and it was hilarious because I remember in the group chat you were talking about how you were writing this other book and you just needed to take a break because it was the taxing of writing a book. So you were going to go on a cruise with your family and just kind of disconnect from social media, disconnect from writing, and just kind of take a break. And then while you're on this cruise, like day 1.5, you tell us, you guys, I have this great idea for a book that I'm working on. And on the span of you being on this cruise, you wrote 1041, at least like the rough draft. I'm like, weren't you supposed to be taking a break?
Yeah, I was writing Inheritance. Inheritance, the beginning. It's a sci-fi dystopian book that is completely different in another world. And it's still there. I wrote 50,000 words, man. And I was like, yeah, I need a break. And I went up on this, and I went on this boat and I was in room 41 on the 10th floor. And I've been cursed by this number 1041 for a very long time. It's a real thing. It's like, how everyone has their number and some things, maybe a color for some people. For me, that's my number, right? And so it's funny how I ended up on this boat with like my wife asking me, why are you sitting in the balcony in the middle of the night with your laptop and you're looking at the ocean? I'm like, I'm writing the diner scene now. She's like, what's that? And I said, you'll see. And then I was like, it's like, and I had this smile on my, like from ear to ear, writing each word, each page. And I was like, how do I make this more claustrophobic? I need to feel like I can't breathe when I'm writing this. I got to make it like it's not world building. It's got to keep you really blind. And then I was like, yes, I have ADHD and now I can channel all my energy on this bloody balcony in the night where there's no distractions, no internet, because I had to pay. Like, it's expensive, guys. Bloody hell. It's like $100 a day. Like, anyway, and that's, 1041 was a freak accident. Never expected to have that, actually.
Yeah,
and do you remember, Charles, I even asked you for your opinion about the audiobook, the design for the cane. Do you remember that? And you're like, David, you should make it thinner. And I did. So yeah, man.
And I noticed that you made it thinner too. And as somebody who is a cane user, when I saw the original concept, I was like, it's funny, I just picked it out. I'm like, that cane is too thick. It's too thick for it. And then I noticed that you made it thinner and the numbers are thinner along it too as well.
So thank you. That's you, man.
Yeah, not a problem.
That's all you, dude.
Nice. It's funny that you mentioned the number following you because you guys see it in my name, but the 1017 is the same thing for me.
No way.
Yeah. I look at the clock at 1017 every morning and every evening, not even on purpose. It just happens. And so it has followed me for years. And then I actually proposed to my wife on October 17th because of it. I planned that. But since then, it follows her as well, which is pretty crazy.
Really?
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh! Write a book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a clearly it can be done. So with that, I wanted to ask, so did the whole idea from 1041 stem on, during this, while you were on this cruise, or did you have any kind of idea of where you were going before the cruise?
I had this idea in the past of writing a story that followed a character, and spoilers if anyone hasn't read it, but anyway, but follows a character through this journey where he is something else. I pitched it to my wife first, and she's like, that is a sick story. But that wasn't connected to the whole 1041 concept back then. It was just a story. I wanted to make a short story, actually, not even a novella. I wanted to make a short story about this little journey. And yeah, so I did have an idea about it, but it wasn't locked in to be, connected to the numbers 1041. 1041 is like your 1017, right? So you see it, you turn, and you just, oh shit, it's 1017. But now 1041 is a good number for me, man. Especially with the book, like I don't see it as a bad thing. You know what I mean? Like it's not per se. I used to be scared of this number, but not anymore. Not anymore.
Yeah.
That's gone. That feeling is completely gone now.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. And then, I realized we kind of jumped ahead of ourselves. So I know we were talking about 1041, but also like wanted to learn a bit about you, and maybe we can kind of jump back in there in a minute. But for the people who don't know you, obviously, you're an author, you wrote 1041, but, tell us a bit more about you and who you are and kind of your background.
Oh yeah. So a bit about me. Wow, I haven't been asked that before. So I was born and raised in Australia to a Turkish Italian family. That marriage didn't last very long. Turks and Italians are both hotheads, so they divorce really quick. And I grew up here, but I spent a lot of my time in China. So I did a lot of social media in China, and before I came back to Australia, I was doing a lot of social media work in China. I had my companies in China. I'm a startup. What do they call it? A serial entrepreneur, and I love starting businesses from nothing and then growing it, and then I think it's part of my ADHD. But me as a person, I'm a dad with kids. With my past, with China behind me and now Australia in front, it's really different because for all of you that don't know, living in a country like China for like such a long time and doing so well there, then coming out to the West is another story altogether. It's like you can't repeat that success in China because it's different over there. But I did learn a lot of things. So yeah, I guess I never really thought of being an author. Back in the day, I loved reading. I never thought of writing. But I all of this has happened so quickly. Just writing, but the best part of this is the friends you make along the way. I now have friends all over the world, and I have brothers in the States and sisters in the States and the UK. It's the best part of it. But yeah, a little bit, just tell you one thing about me that maybe it's a bit interesting, right? So growing up in Australia, I played soccer. I was a goalkeeper. So, I was a goalkeeper. I played almost pro, dislocated my knee. I got kicked in the knee by a striker, because strikers are all bastards. And, I had to get out of playing soccer. So, after that, I became an engineer at uni. So I'm actually a computer engineer. I'm a software engineer by trade. So I studied engineering. And then after that, I worked for Dell. I was one of the people who built Dell's systems in their computers, their Windows systems. And that was the hardest, worst job I've ever taken or done. My back was cramped up. And then after that, I got into I got into BDM roles. I changed my life completely. I went from one thing to another. So my story is a mixed bag. It's really hard to go chronologically and tell you guys what I went through because there's just so much. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Sure.
Yeah, but all in all, in a nutshell, I guess that's me.
Okay. So how is it that you ended up in China? That's a pretty big move, right?
Do you
Big
want
culture
do
change.
you want the bullshit reason that I tell people I don't know, or do you want the real reason? I can give you
You know
both.
we
Like,
want the real.
Let me tell you, I've read a couple of the interviews that people have done for you in the past. I
Yeah.
want the real reason, right? Not the polished. This is going to be out in writing, like
yeah.
Yes.
we're in the group chat. Tell me what's
I-
happening.
I ended up in China because I lost my driver's license. And I lost my license here in Australia because I had demerit points, like too many demerit points. I lost all my points on my license. And my job required me to drive. Without that, there was no job. So I had to quit my job and then work for my dad in his kebab shop. This is the truth, okay? So imagine this. I quit being an engineer. I had enough of everything. I was going through this mind, F. And I said to my dad, "Hey, Dad, you have a kebab shop. Can I stay with you a bit?" He's like, "Of course, son. Come, hang out with me." And so I ran Dad's. Do you guys have Turkish kebab shops where you guys are? I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. You know those donut kebabs?
Yeah, the lamb on
turning
the
ones?
rack that they.
Yeah, you know the meat that turns as a shaving knife they cut. Do you guys have that there? I don't know.
I have it, but it's really hard to find. I've got one shawarma house that has it.
Something like that. So my dad's an old school Turk, and my dad's like, "Come, son, come to me. Let's go together working." And it's not a shameful thing, going from engineering to that because my father loves me and he wanted me to be mentally, because I was unstable. I wasn't going through a good time. It wasn't a good time in my head around then. You know what I mean? So I fell back to family because I have my family for that. And then I had a mate named Chris who called me. He goes, this guy, Chris, he loves everything about China, like movies, people, everything, right? And he had massive yellow fever. Do you guys, like, Chris has
I'm familiar.
the most yellow fever you could imagine. He doesn't care what anyone looks like. He doesn't care if it's a man or a woman. As long as they're Asian, that's okay for him. And I love him for that. But he called me. He's like, "David, what are you doing with your life?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" Well, he sounds like this dodgy salesman. I go, I'm in my dad's kebab shop. He goes, "Bro, come to China." I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Just come to China, man. Let's go. Let's do something here." I was like, "Okay." So I didn't have any money back then. Yes, I was an engineer, but I had a very stupid lifestyle. So it was going on stupid things like game consoles and everything, which I still own. Technically, they're kind of like an investment. But I had no money, and I had money only with the items I owned. So I started selling my stuff to buy tickets. I sold my laptop, and when I sold my laptop, I got like $300 for it. I bought my ticket with that, and I said to my mom and dad, "I'm going to do a course. I'm going to end up being an English teacher in China." Just like that, randomly. My dad's always very supportive. He's like, "Very good, son. You go. Very good." And then I ended up in China, and I got scammed when I landed in China. The company that was supposed to bring me to China to supposedly learn Chinese and work, it was a scam. I ended up going there in a different place where I was meant to be. I got there at 3 a.m. and I was like, "Oh, let's go to Dalian." Dalian's a very pretty place in China. It's in the northeast next to the ocean. They're like, "We're going to Inner Mongolia." I said, "Where the hell is that?" And then they put me on a train for like 12 hours on my own. Dude, the old Chinese trains, they're gone now, but the carriages, they're like four beds. And I was on the very top. And I'm a big guy, and I was bigger then. And between my stomach and the ceiling, there was like a millimeter. And I went down. People were so friendly, man. Everyone's so kind and nice. I couldn't speak a word of Chinese, but people were like trying to help me and be supportive. Ended up going there. And they put me in this tiny little town called Huhot. And I'm like, "Where the hell am I? The plane's landing. We're landing in the freaking desert. There is nothing around. There are mountains, just nothing. I feel like we're going to crash." And then we land on this tiny airstrip. And then the lady picked me up. She goes, why you look different to picture? I said, what do you mean? And then she's holding a picture of Brad Pitt. I'm not lying. Listen to me. Let me explain. I'm not making any of this shit up. The lady is holding a resume because the scamming company, right? The scammer company sent her this. And she doesn't know. She's like this old lady. She doesn't know. And she's showing me a resume with a picture of young Brad Pitt. And I'm like, excuse me, that's not me.
Yeah, no offense, but you are no young Brad Pitt.
I look like I walked out of, I look like Saddam Hussein's cousin. And I came out. And then the lady's like, anyway, let's go. And she's like, rush. And she knew she got scammed, but to save face, she didn't like say anything. So she ended up putting me in this tiny little apartment. No bed. Nothing in the kitchen. It's completely empty. And she said, tomorrow you'll start to work. I said, what? Tomorrow? I just got here, man. Work? I'm supposed to study. Then everything clicked. I got scammed. They got scammed too. She's the headmaster of the school. We all got scammed.
How do you both get scammed?
They got scammed because the agency that brought me to China told them that I'm a professional English teacher that came to China with the purpose of working for 1 year under a 1-year contract, and I could start immediately, and that there was nothing else needed. And then I would work on the minimum wage.
That should have been the first red flag.
Yeah. But me being me, I thought to myself, you know what? I'm already here. Why not? My dad immigrated to Australia. My mom immigrated to Australia. I was like, yeah, why don't I also try this thing where they're always telling me I came to Australia with $5. Why don't I try this in China? You know what I mean? Give it a go.
Yeah.
So I did. Dude, I did. And it was terrifying. The first few weeks, it was horrible. But it was.
You don't speak the language. You're in the. Yeah. Not only are you in a foreign country, but you were scammed into being not even in like a major hub of a city, but 12 hours inland.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and the people there were not expecting you, and you weren't expecting your situation that you walked into. Yeah. It sounds like it's not good for anybody.
Nah. And there were rats at my door in the middle of the night, and the base of the door was broken. And I don't have a phone, I don't have any money because they didn't take me to the bank. All I know is that the next day at 7 a.m., there's going to be someone picking me up to take me to work. Next day, there's no one picking me up. A letter on the door saying, be there 8:30. Here is the address. I had no idea how to get there. I had to walk in the streets looking for this school. Ended up being late, got there, and they just dumped me in the deep end. And I killed it. I was such a great teacher. And I had kids coming up to me and say, David Laoshi. Laoshi means teacher in Chinese. So they don't call you by your name like in the West. Like those countries, they say something teacher, right? And they're like, oh, do you have any extracurricular courses? I'm like, no. But then my entrepreneurial brain clicked. And anyway, I got fired 3 months later. I came back home and all my stuff was in the middle of the street. Because they never got paid. Hold on. Yeah.
I was going to say, how do you get fired from a scam?
Yep. You get fired because the scamming company never paid or never gave. Well, the scamming company got found, and they found out that I was in China with the wrong visa. I was there under a business visa, not a work visa. And they're going to get caught. So what they do, they cut the line. I went home and all my stuff, everything, not even packed, it's outside. My girlfriend, Sammy, my wife now, she and I are thinking, holy shit, what are we going to do? Me being me, I'm like, it's okay. I'll figure it out. Went to a hotel and I found a guy who does other people's working visas. And through that, I said, dude, I'll pay you money. You do my visa. And he's like, yep. And so that's how it started. And I started working for myself back. I was pushed out. I was kicked on the street, man. It was crazy. It was whack.
And then you said, bet, see what I can do.
Yeah. I don't take, life can throw you lemons. I make the best lemonade.
I don't want to glaze over this. I don't want to kind of like just graze over this because what you said, right? You were there for 3 months to work. You were educating these students and everything like that. And you were doing a really good job. But also in that meantime, it sounds like you met somebody.
Yeah, my wife.
How and now you're married to her. and you
Yeah.
have children.
She's
right?
the first only girlfriend I had in China. Prior to her, I dated maybe 2 girls. I was never really good with dating. I'm very shy with that stuff. I don't like the feeling of trying to go out there and mingle. I've always wanted to be a dad. I don't know how to explain it. I've always wanted to be a father, and I've always wanted something serious. That's just me, who I am. And I met Sammy online on QQ. There's a platform, an online social media platform called QQ. It's not a dating platform. It's just to make friends, like, back then, before WeChat, before all of that. And I met her on there, and I had a chat with her. I said, "Oh, hi, I'm David. I'm from Australia." And she told me to piss off because she thought I was a horny old white man coming to Asia to be weird. I'm not like that.
She thought you were your friend.
No, I just added her randomly, and then I told her, I said, "Hey, I'm David. Can we be friends?" She told me to piss off because a lot of white people and non-white, like even black guys and other Asian guys born abroad and South American guys, they all go to Asia to kind of hook up with chicks. A lot of guys do that. So people have this mentality, oh, he's just another horny dude. And I don't want them to think that. I was just trying to make friends. I made lots of friends online. And anyway, we eventually met. She met me. She's a Mongolian. So she's inner Mongolian. She's a Mongolian minority that belongs to the Mongolian race, but born and raised in China. I met her. She came to meet me with 10 other giant, strong, beautiful Mongolian women. I didn't know which one was which because I haven't seen her picture yet. And I'm looking around, which one is it? And then it's like a movie, like they all opened up and then she came through. Like, I'm not joking. Like, that really happened. And I fell in love, man. I was like, Mrs. Gulasi.
Yeah, I think, listen, transition from horror to romance, because I need to know, like, we need that scene written down in a book.
Dude, that, thinking about it made me.
At this point.
Eh?
Oh, you're breaking up their book, Dad.
Oh,
Leo, you're breaking up, bro.
what about that?
What'd you say? Yeah.
I think you're back up.
I was saying this whole. I'm good.
Yeah, you're good.
There's a delay. Okay, I was just saying that this whole story sounds like it could be a book on its own.
Maybe, I don't know. I've already written it. I've written a memoir already. It's finished. I just haven't published it. I haven't fixed it, but I just did it for me, for my kids. When they asked me one day, Dad, tell me about your story. This is for them. I'm not going to publish it. It's just for them. How I met their mom, how I went through what. It's for them. But yeah, man. I met Sammy, and she, Sammy's my mountain, man. Like, without her, I wouldn't be here and who I am today. I don't think so. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Somebody who compliments you and helps drive you, and
Absolutely.
maybe even reins you in a little bit to focus.
Yes.
Yeah.
She is. She kind of controls me in that sense when I'm when I'm distracted, when I shouldn't be. She's like, look, she helps me prioritize things. And I'm like, oh, I'm so grateful for that.
When you're on a cruise and you're supposed to be relaxing and you're sitting there in the dark, right over your laptop, writing a diner scene, and she's saying, what are you doing? Right? Like trying to rein you in those moments when your mind's all over the place.
So she read the first chapter. She said, this is a porn book. Why are you writing a porn book? I said, it's not a porn book. What do you mean?
So with your wife, right?
It was included.
You met Sammy, and you talked about how you were essentially the scam was found out, and you were kicked out of your house that you've been living in for 3 months as you're going through this country and educating these students. And then you went and got the correct visas. You found somebody to do that. Now, is that how you went from being this teacher to being a celebrity?
Yeah. So I ended up opening my own school. So middle of the night, I went out to the print shop and I had this idea. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start this thing right now. And I left out, I went to the print shop, and the guy spoke English. He helped me print a flyer. I didn't know how much to charge. I just charged a minimum. I just wanted to see if it would work. And it was winter, minus 35 degrees Celsius. And I had gloves on. It wasn't enough. And I started handing out pamphlets because people don't sleep in China. I just hope you know that. No one's asleep. Okay. It's not like we're 9 to 5. Nah, none of that. and it's buzzing all the time. Okay. And it was 11 p.m. and I was out in the street giving out flyers, and I had my phone number on there, and I was getting message after message after message. And within 2 weeks, I had 6 students. Within 3 months, I had 40. And I then used that money to then hire my own office. And then I said, oh, I wonder what happens if I make videos on social media. I might make some funny videos. So I made videos on social media, and it blew up, man. Like, it blew up phenomenally. I think overnight, on one of the really viral videos, I went from 0 to 120,000 followers overnight. And I was flying to Hong Kong to do my visa stuff back then. And I was looking at my phone and I was freaking out. I was like, is there something wrong with my phone? And then blowing up. It was on the news. It was this, like, everywhere. And that's when it started. And what I did immediately is I did not get excited. I thought like a businessman. Immediately, I started copy pasting those videos on simultaneous platforms across the board. And I just copy paste. And then what I did was basically upload those videos everywhere, and then they blew up everywhere. And I kept doing that. And then without I don't get excited from social media fame because it doesn't help, right? Especially if you're trying to turn this into a business. And then what I did was I kept making videos, and then my schools had people coming from the southern part of China, flying all the way to this tiny city in Wuhan to learn English with us. I was like, holy shit, this is great. And it did get weird at times. I had people following me to my house and stuff because it was the early time of Chinese social media. People still weren't really used to social media celebrities back then in 2016, back in China. And it was a bit heavy on the family, especially taking pictures of my kids and stuff. But yeah, I met every famous person in China almost. I met so many people, and yeah, that's how it started, Charles. Just to answer that question, man, it was a crazy journey, dude. It was a crazy, wacky journey. Never expected it, you know?
So as somebody who has experience, right, in being on social media globally, China, Australia, you're here in the US as well. Being in China, did you feel any type of external pressure of censorship of like, was it so direct that it's like, I really better make sure I tiptoe the line? Or was it more indirect, like, if I do these types of things, it's just not going to perform well?
Well, China is not a democracy. Okay. You got to get that right. So you can't talk about certain things. You got to keep them out of your mouth. Otherwise you're in trouble. Legal trouble, not just, I don't mean like getting sued. I mean, put in jail. So there's always that pressure of making sure you don't step over that line. I did get in trouble several times when I attacked other people online, and it was only because they did stupid things. And then you get the Australian media who label you as a person who loves China and is a communist because they love hating on China for everything. That's much better now. But, yes, there was a lot of external pressure. I had both articles written about me, good and bad. The bad was always they say you get paid by the Chinese government to make videos. That's bullshit. They don't.
A nationalist.
Yeah, the Chinese government doesn't give a shit about me. Why would they pay me to make videos for them? Like, how stupid must you be to think that? And I'm not a pro-communist guy. I'm a pro-China guy. There's a difference between their government and their people. Mm-hmm. And their people, their culture is over 5,000 years old. Like, the government's only been there for a short time. So people don't know the difference, dude. China is a massive, deep, beautiful culture. Like, there's so much to that country beyond just loving their government. Do you know what I mean? So liking tea culture and music and Chinese opera, that's cool, man. That doesn't mean you're a pro-government guy. But yeah, the Western news media, especially here in Australia, they love hating on China, dude. Absolutely love it because it sells papers. It people buy it. People want to read that, And so, yeah, I did get hurt a bit from that, but beyond that, not much else, to be honest. I just never really cared because the positives outweighed the negatives.
And as somebody who has experience with both, and what you just touched on, right? Being like pro China and the
Yeah.
people and the culture, this culture is thousands of years old, is different than being pro Chinese government, right?
Yeah.
And then you have the West, specifically here in the US, where we are a young country, right?
Mm.
And not only are we a young country, we are an eclectic country. We have, for whether we took or borrowed or whatever it might be from all these other cultures, we have a melting pot of cultures here, right? There's nothing uniquely American other than the fact that we are combined with
Yes.
all these different cultures and representations. But we don't have that type of like culture that goes back thousands of years that is celebrated here. We celebrate the fact that we are a new country, but with looking at it from a lens of where you've been in the west of Australia, here in the US, and over in China, who has a bigger misunderstanding of each other? Does the West have a really big misunderstanding of China, or does China have a misunderstanding of the West? And speaking particularly about like social media, what is that difference?
In my opinion, to answer that, I would say China, the thing in China is the media controls what people see. You have to understand that. That's just one thing, that's the reality to it, right? But because the younger generation is just, they have social media, it's harder to really control them than it is the elder, the boomer age, right? So the younger generation knows everything that's going on globally, even in their own country. They don't say it, but they know. The thing is, the West, they purposely go after everything negative about China. It's just something I've seen, and everything negative. Like news articles about BYD sales being, surpassing Tesla will be followed by another article saying that BYD cars have spyware. I mean, seriously, like that's the trend. So it's not that the West misunderstands China. I think they don't want to understand what's going on in China. I don't think they want to see the positives. I think they can't sell the positives to people because people won't pay for those. You can't clickbait the positives. And I think clickbaiting is what they're doing, especially with things like News Corp in Australia. These guys, everything, spy China and the president's picture on there, everyone starts clicking. And that's what they're looking for. So there's no real authentic conversation going on between these two. Never. And when there is, people always go back into what the media just told them. And it's never the case, So to answer that, I would say the West has no understanding of what's going on in China, but China knows what's going on in the West. That's just the reality to it, If you take politics out of the equation, right? We're just talking about people. If you ask, I don't know about you guys, but in Australia, if I go on the street and ask about China, they're going to say, oh, factories and communism, and that's it. They're going to say that their knowledge is so like they have no idea what's going on over there, And then when they see that urinals in Shenzhen could measure the acidity of your urine, they would freak out over that kind of technology. They'll be like, no, that's ridiculous. But that's where they are. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, there is a huge misconception of what China is. It's not what people think it is. It's a freaking cool place, man. Do you know what I mean?
And I think a little bit of what you're kind of explaining here, right, is just the two different uses of propaganda, right? But one of the things is with the younger generation coming in, and for instance, this platform we're on right now, TikTok, it has opened up the world. Social media connected the world, and TikTok has really opened it up and has allowed people to see in real time people from vastly different cultures, different areas, and get a look into like real life. And especially during the pandemic that happened, so with being somebody from one, you have this huge background of just, a Hungarian, you're Australian, you've traveled through China, you've been huge on social media, you've been a person of interest for a while. You've had articles written about you, you've been interviewed. This isn't your first interview, but you've also been considered controversial. And as you even said, you've had people write good things about you and bad things about you. Where do you think that controversy comes from? And I'll start with that. Where do you think this controversy comes from?
I think it's just I'm an easy target. So when the news media is looking for someone, they always look for someone to blame for everything. And so when you have someone who I did well in China, I did grow my businesses there. They can't accept that the reason why I grew my businesses in China is because I worked really, really hard, and that they didn't see the sleepless nights I spent middle of the night, almost getting frostbite in Inner Mongolia, handing out flyers, or when I made videos of all the hours I spent behind planning, deleting videos, looking at comments and getting upset. They don't see that. What they see is success, and behind the success, there must be the Communist Party. That's it. Must be China pushing this dude, making him famous. And then when I make videos about, oh my God, China, buying stuff is so convenient, or, oh my God, like I love Chinese high-speed rail, or I like how convenient everything is in China. They don't see that I actually genuinely like all of that, and that I could go from Beijing to Inner Mongolia in an hour and a half instead of flying forever, right? What they see is, oh, he's been paid by the Communist Party to do propaganda, right? Like I don't have better things to do than to do shit like that. So I don't look at controversies. I think when you hit anything in your life, any level of success in anything, I don't mean I'm not putting myself on a pedestal, but I'm just saying if you get to any level of success in your life, there will always be people coming after you saying that you did it because you're this, and they don't see the real reason behind it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I was recently speaking to someone, and they said, well, your book is blowing up because you're a man. And I got upset about that because it's not true. That's not the reason. And it's not blowing up. Yeah. It's just doing okay for an indie book. It's not like freaking bestseller. But you don't get it. It's like being labeled. It's not just happening with the whole China concept. It's happening with everything I do or anything. You got to brush them off. Just don't get upset. Don't attack them. Just say, look, it's not true. They don't see the hustle behind the work. And that's just something you just got to let go. Do you know what I mean?
Well, as somebody who does know you on a more personal level, right? Yeah. To put you in a just as a monolith and say, hey, your book is doing so well because you're a man and you're an author. When we see a lot of male authors out there who are in the indie space who just don't have this level of success, because 1041 is a success, but I can say just from the personal observations is because of how hard you have been working to make this a success. I mean, all of the different editions of this book that you have for the cover art, all of the artists that you've paid to get that work done, you are constantly in the group chat. Hey guys, here's what I'm thinking of. What do you guys think? You're putting out competitions. You're using your platform. You're always working. And so I would say, like, with the success that it's having, I'm surprised just because I read so many indie authors and I look at so many indie authors, and there's so many out there who do work so hard still and don't reach this level of success. But at the same time, if you don't grind, it doesn't happen. True. And, so I just kind of want to touch on that piece, which I understand that is upsetting because it's not speaking to all of the hard work that you're actually doing. But with this talk of like just controversy, right? This has followed you for a long time. What is it? Like, is it the success that you had in social media? Is it the fact that you've been labeled as this, like, in the past as like a pro-Chinese nationalist? Or what is it that's drugged this fact out for 10 plus years that David Gulasi is a controversial figure?
Charles, just to answer that, I do want to reflect on another thing. There was a recent event that was going to go down here in Sydney. It was some opening. And I didn't go because the owner of that place and me were very close. And they came to me and they said, David, I feel like you're too controversial. If you come, a lot of people won't turn up. And I was like, wow, it hit me. But that person's my good mate and I love that person. And the fact that they told me, I'm like, I do not want to harm your business, mate. You do you. And they're like, it's okay. We'll have a special thing for you. I'm like, it's all good. I don't want to hurt my friends or anything like that. So the fact that that's happening means that whatever I'm doing is annoying a lot of people. And that I'm okay with it because I can't control what people think about me. I don't want to control or force people to like my book or me. It's okay. Everyone has their audience, right? I think I can't change and I won't change for other people. I won't be another person. So if I'm controversial, that's because I speak my mind. I just say what's there. And yes, it's risky, but it's what I think. And it's just the truth, you know? Like, I don't like people who attack anyone for any reason, for no reason. Don't cancel people because you think they're wrong. Everyone has their audience, you know? And I think, yeah, I'm always going to live by that rule, Charles. And I think to answer your question, unfortunately, everything I do will be controversial because I always think out of the box and I take it to the next level. I don't follow other people with anything I do. And, you know, I'm not just talking about the book. I'm talking about everything I do in my life. I do because the way I think is different to the way other people think. And they think, oh, well, that's too edgy. Or no, that your book has too many horrible scenes. You'll never be traditionally published. That's fine. I'm okay with that. I'm absolutely okay with that. Do you know what I mean? And
so, did these other authors, am I still on the delay or am I good?
I can hear you
okay.
good.
So did these other authors have issue with the content of the book, or is it due to like things with your past?
No, nothing to do with my past. That's never been brought up. It's more about the content I make on TikTok. They think using the C word so casually is like wrong. You know, they think...
So not even the book itself?
No, it's no reflection on the book. It's more as a TikToker, as a BookTalker, you know. And it's like, you know, he's controversial. He doesn't fit what we believe in. That's fine. I still have a lot of friends, but I'm not going to come out and try to impress people. You know, you don't have to follow me if you don't like it. I'm just saying, it's the truth, right? Like, you don't have to follow me if you don't like it. I'm not going out and attacking groups of people or, you know, I come from an ethnic minority, man. I know what it's like to be suppressed in a Western country. My mom came here, couldn't find work because she couldn't speak English. Dude, like, everyone has a story, right? Everyone has a bloody story. But yeah, I don't take shit. That's the thing. I just don't take shit from no one. And I don't force people to like me or follow me or even read my book. I ask people if they want to read it. I send them copies. That's okay. That's fine if you don't want to. But yeah.
So speaking of also of, right, like you are an ethnic minority, whether you're in any Western country, right? When you talk about like, what was your ethnicity again?
Turkish Italian.
Okay, so Turkish Italian, like it's not something you see every day as an ethnic combination in anywhere in Western countries. But with that being said, I want to talk about culture for just a second.
Turkish, Lebanese, and Italian, because my mom's background is also from Lebanon, because my great-grandfather's from Lebanon, from Beirut. Anyway, that's just, see what I mean? It's too much, man. I can't even catch up.
So Turkish, Lebanese, and Italian. But I want to talk about culture here, and specifically how you said you're controversial on this platform, because I've navigated my way into a couple different groups here. And your use of the C word is part of the controversy. I've heard people say that. Is that just an Australian culture thing? Or as somebody who's not specifically Australian, is that just Western, like American media, where we assume everybody in Australia uses the C word?
I think it's just me. I can't tell you other Australians use it. Look, Australians... depends on which part of Australia, but at the same time, we do use it a lot in Australia. We do, like between mates and stuff. I like that word. It's one of my favorite words, man. In book 2, it's in the first line. I purposely put it there. I need it there, so when people preview it on Amazon, I don't get those readers who don't want to read it. They'll see that and they'll shut it off right away. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of the books, I wanted to just use that as a transition here because it's been in the chat several times. The diner scene. Okay, you've talked a little bit about like the setting of where you were out on the balcony, looking out in the ocean. It's nighttime, but what were you thinking? Like, as I read this, it got worse and worse as far as like, I cannot, like, this is just getting, I'm grossed out. It's extreme. What is happening? It's probably the most memorable part of that book. One of the most memorable parts. What were you thinking when you wrote that? Like, what was your headspace?
I was trying to find a way that what would scare me. Like, I put myself in the character's like POV, and I was thinking, I'm sitting on the ground, and what would scare the shit out of me? And it would be a guy falling, and then his head slit open with that thing on his head. I don't want to say it on this platform in case you guys get blocked.
Yeah.
And coming
towards me if you do,
with tiny finger things pulling him across the ground. That would scare the shit out of me. And then looking up at the ceiling, the same thing happening through the ceiling. Like, that would scare me. So I would be like, yeah, I'm going to put this in because that freaked me out. There was no inspiration except for what's in my own brain. And I thought to myself, I'm like, yeah, dude, this would scare the shit out of you. Let's put it in the book. That would be messed up. And remember, like, the book was written in a way that it wasn't meant to be. I never expected people to actually read the bloody thing. I'm not joking. I thought there would be a few mates that would pick it up and put it out as a joke. Yeah.
So there's a lot in the book.
2,200 copies sold in a few months, which is I'm proud of, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a lot of the book that is just it's wild. I mean, the diner scene is just one part of it. There's so much more. Is there anything that was so wild that you were like, I'm going to cut this because it's too much? Or did you leave everything?
Yeah, no. There was a couple of things I almost put in there. I couldn't. It was pretty messed up. Like, it wasn't even to the extent, but I didn't hold back in book 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't hold back.
Speaking of book 2, right? Since you're talking about, Book Dad said, was there anything that you left out and you decided not to put it in book 1, but you put it into book 2?
Yes.
Because book 2 book 1 you didn't have an editor. How did you get the editor on board with adding stuff like that? Because they have to be telling you, David, what are you like? When I made that video that went through, like, I can't sell this crap. What are you talking about? Like, how was it an editor say, David, no, take this out?
So I don't know if you guys know the editor. Her name's Amanda. She's always on my TikTok. So Amanda is as disturbed as I am. We're such a perfect match. Amanda and I worked together on world building, and it was something I didn't do in book 1 because you're meant to be claustrophobic. It's meant to be punchy. You're not meant to know what's going on. There's not meant to be, you're walking through, you're going through this story with no idea what's happening. But book 2 is massive. This massive world in hell. And what's her name? Amanda. She helped me build on that world. And like, I was always worried that she's going to read it. So we share a Google Doc together, and Amanda, so I write, and then she sees me writing live. Like, she could actually see me typing. And then I see her funny comments like, David, what the hell? Are you kidding me? What the F? Like, I love watching her comments along the side. I should screenshot them and show it because it's so funny. And Amanda really encouraged a lot of the weird stuff too. Like, I've got a fight scene at the end of book 2 that was meant to be a paragraph that ended up being 2 chapters, and that was with Amanda's inspiration. So it's different. Book 2 is really well written compared to book 1. Like, because book one had my sister. She helped me with it, right? And she helped me edit it. And then we worked together on getting it done. And I'm like, do you want me to put your name in the book? She goes, no, don't. I don't want to be a part of this.
I was saying, so she's part of the problem too then. Okay. You know, speaking with that is you said that book two is going to actually be more like a novel. It's a longer book,
Almost.
substantially or so.
Almost. A short novel, I would say. A short novel. Yeah.
Was it intentional to have 1041 be a novella, or is that just kind of, as you finished it up, you said, this is where it's at?
No, it was meant to be a short story, and then it ended up being a novella. It has about 18,000 words. It's not very big. It takes people an hour and a half to read through it. Book two is currently sitting close to 50,000. So, there's a lot. They can't rush the process in book two. There's a lot in there. But book two could be a standalone as well, but it only connects to Bonjo at the end of the first book. We're looking at the screens of all the people's hells. You get to see people's hells and stuff like that. And so the intention for book one was short story. It ended up being a novella. Book two was meant to be a novella. It ended up being a short novel.
So how far into book two are you?
Finished. It's done.
It's complete.
It's complete. It's just now Amanda is literally now on it. I just saw her on my computer. She's just fixing up a few minor things, punctuation and whatnot. And she's just going through that. Then I'm going through it, and that's it. It's ready. It should be out for pre-orders end of this month, and July 1st is when the hardcovers and the paperbacks will be available.
Wow.
I know you a little bit deeper than just as the author. To speak to it, you're always working. It seems like you're always either editing and writing, and even outside of writing, you're always working and doing something. You said you got ADHD, you got all these projects. How do you balance life with your family on top of all of this stuff? I mean, I imagine being this huge influencer takes away from your family, writing takes away from your family. Like, how do you show up to be a dad?
That's my number one priority. Everything comes after that. So being a dad is number one. Nothing can surpass being a dad. And once the kids are in bed, just basically start doing the work I'm meant to be doing. And I work for myself, so I do have a lot of free time. I have a big team of people working with me, and really reliable team that's been working with me for ages. So I'm grateful to have that. Without that amazing team, I would not be able to have this free time to write. But yeah, it is the ADHD. I tried to go on the ADHD meds. I couldn't do it. I was on it for a month. It made me, I don't know, man. I hated it. It made me all groggy, and I was concentrating too much on one thing. I didn't like that. So I got off those meds, and I was like, just let it loose. And then basically it's hard with the kids though, especially on the bloody weekends, because as an entrepreneur, remember, work doesn't stop for you. I do have things happen, and I'm with the kids, and I've got to balance that. So it is tough, but it gets done somehow. I don't know, chaos theory, like in Jurassic Park, how Malcolm talks about chaos theory, right? And ends up things just follow suit at the end of the day. And when something works out, you don't change your habits. You don't say, I'm going to go back and do it differently. You just let the chaos take over. It does take a toll on my wife though, because she now has, I'm not going to lie, like writing has been harder for her, because I ask her if I could have like a few extra hours each week, because she works. And my wife is a nurse. She works for our company. So we have our aged care center. But man, I need time to write. I need to pump things out. And because of her, man, she gives me that time. She gives me that time. She takes over the things I'm meant to be doing with the kids sometimes, and she just lets me do that. So I'm so blessed, man. Like, honest to God, without her, I probably wouldn't have the time to write.
Yeah. I don't think it's possible to, as much as we want to think that we can do it on our own, we always need support. And, it sounds like Sammy is just an incredible support for you, both business wise, family wise, and just aspirational.
Absolutely, man. It's really important for me.
So,
It's a big part.
so with the amount of work you talk about that comes with writing a book, obviously there's a lot of work behind marketing, and I've seen you've put a lot of work into that. Tell us a little bit about that, as far as like what was your plan with marketing, and did that evolve as you kind of continued?
You mean for 1041? Oh wow,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
I didn't know what I was doing. I when I published the book, I went on so many Reddit chat forums to learn about KDP publishing and what is Ingram Spark and all that. I had no idea. I learned from other people. I didn't even know how to do pre-orders. I just basically directly uploaded the book, and then I was supposed to do pre-orders. I didn't know how to hype up a book. I didn't know. I just pumped it up. I had no idea. And then the marketing came. It didn't really come. I didn't have a plan. It was all you boys, all of you guys, man, without the group, remember the group? You guys were the first ones, man. You guys in that group were the people to pump 1041, man. Without anyone in that group, I don't think anyone would know about it, because we have that TikTok group of these young fine fellas, I want to call us, and it's a proper name for this live chat. And I think that it was everyone in that group being so supportive, like, oh, one of our own wrote a book, let's pump it. And I felt so proud, and I felt so honored, and I was like, yeah, man, I'm being supported by the boys. And that's when I felt like it was a family, not just a group. Like, remember the message I wrote to you guys about my feelings and being all mushy? That was legit, man.
Yeah.
I loved you guys, and I still do. I love you guys, man. Like, you guys were the ones to get it out there. And then, I don't know, everyone else followed suit, and people got it, and they're like, what's this messed up book? And I think it's a combination of who I am on TikTok as a personality, along with the book. I think it comes hand in hand, being who I am, being controversial. People knew the book is messed up. If you don't, then it's ridiculous. Yeah. Right. But again, marketing I use my business marketing strategy to pump this book out. It's just on repeat, always talking to people, getting it out there. I put some money aside for sending out for postage and whatnot. Yeah.
And I thought I saw something about a database, right? This is with like the different creators and authors that you wanted to get it to, and kind of tracking that.
Yeah. I made a large database of book talkers and book grammars, and just wanting to reach out to them. I went out. It took me a few weeks, but I started putting an Excel sheet together with their following, their CPI conversions and all that. I did all of the research individually. Then I reached out to each and every one of them, making sure that they're Alex is like, we're on a list. Yes, Alex, you are on a list. And initially I just went out, and I even connected to Smitty, because I have a very big TikTok account with over 160,000 followers. I used that to call to Smitty. Is like, dude, send it to me in Q2. I was like, okay, I will. He'll never read it, bro. Don't worry. I'm just saying he was on the list. And the fact that I contacted each and every single one of them and didn't copy paste any message. I literally just got their name. I said, I like your bookshelf, or I like this, I like that. And that was a long process. And then everyone replied. And but yeah, long story short, that list took a while to make. And I used that business structure in everything I do. So when I opened my school, I had a list of public schools that I would get my sales guys to go after. And that list structure is something I do with every business I have. And I used it for the book. And the list is still growing. You boys are on the list. I can let you know.
Speaking of having this list grow, right? Okay, Smitty is one thing. He's one of the biggest TikTokers, right? The OG. But James Rollins read your book. Not only did he read your book, he reviewed your book. One of the only books he's ever reviewed. Like, what? As somebody who you've done a lot in life. You're not surprised about success, but like, to be somebody who's writing this book and think to yourself, I don't know where this is going to go. I don't know if anybody's going to read it. And now today, James Rollins has reviewed your book. It's even, his review is even on one of the covers. Like, how does that feel?
Dude, I cried that night. I cried. I was like, dude, what the hell, man? And I was so excited. And like my uncles all love James Rawlins, right? They're like those Dan Brown, Clive Cussler era people, right? They love those old school. But James is still cooking, man. Like he hasn't done yet. He's freaking releasing back to back. Like he's on it. And now we're mates. We're friends, man. Like I sent him Australian dog food for his dogs. Like we're mates. I know where he lives. He knows where I live. When I go to the States, I'll visit him. I never expected to be friends with the man. And I reached out to him. I said, hey, James, I'm an author. I'm really hoping if you want to read a mini horror book. And he replied several days later. He goes, yeah, here's my email. I was like, what? And then I was worried he was a scam because I thought, this is not James Rawlins. No way.
There's no way he's going to reply like that.
It was him. Dude, it was him. And I was so excited. And you know what? The most important part of it is that he actually followed through. He emailed me back. He gave me a blurb. And he told me that Matt Riley, in Australia, I think it was Matt Riley, one of these famous Australian authors, he said he was the one to give that guy his first blurb. I'm like, dude, that felt so exciting. Like,
full circle almost, in a way.
Man. I was so proud of myself because he wrote it. I was, yes. Yeah, I was in tears that night, dude. It was so exciting.
When I saw James Rawlins reply with that review and read your book, that made me a James Rawlins fan.
Yeah.
Because
100%.
to have the level of success that he has, all the books that he's written, right? I'm sure he gets that email 100 times a day.
Yeah.
For him to personally reach out, read the book, do all of this, it's like you don't get that a lot. And it's not to talk down on other, famous authors, but because just time-wise, and I'm just sure it's impossible. But the fact that he did it, I'm like, that's the type of person I want to support.
Yeah. And Andy Weir replied my email. Did you know that?
He did. Yeah. He didn't read it, but he replied.
No, man, he didn't read it, but he and what's his name? I can't find it now. The one dude, what's his name? The guy who wrote the Kings of the Wild. What's his name?
Oh man.
Guys, what is it? Come on.
Abercrombie? No. James Easel?
Yes. Something like that.
Something like that.
I gotta find this book. Anyway, he wrote an email to me.
Matt Dinniman has a picture holding your book up.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's just crazy.
Did I hear this?
Yeah.
I was just saying, is he going to be reading it? Is that?
I don't know.
Okay,
but
I wasn't sure
because he owns a copy
it.
now. He has a copy. He took it home.
Okay.
So
who knows? Maybe you got
Nicholas
Eames coming.
Yes, Nicholas Eames. Amanda, yes. Nicholas Eames. That's his name. Kings of the Wild.
So
okay.
I know we are all family men here, and I want to, we're coming up on that hour for this interview, so I do want to start winding down and kind of ending. I want to leave a Q&A session for the chat if they have time. But Book Dad, do you have some closing questions for David?
I guess I'm wondering what can we expect moving forward as far as you have book 2. Do you have other books coming down the line? What's in the future?
I've got in my mind, and I've written them down, a pipeline of books that I want to write. But one of the genres that I'm really wanting to enter is the lit RPG horror realm. I am putting together a structure for a book series that follows a guy that works in a kebab shop that ends up in a game in an abandoned building, that the entire book series is him going floor by floor up into the top levels. And that is something I'm putting together as a plan. Now, I love lit RPG. I'm a massive Dinniman fan. I'm a massive James A. Taylor fan. I love him. He's got the book, by the way. I don't know if he's read it. He probably just told me he got it just so I can leave him alone. But very short, I'm trying to get into the horror lit RPG realm that's going to be funny, stupid, yet scary. I used to work in a kebab shop. I want that character to be based on me. And dude, I'm just really excited about that series. I haven't even come up with a name for it yet, but I already know what's going to happen in it. Yeah, but that's something that I'm hoping to get into eventually. But I do want to get out a few standalones before that, or maybe my ADHD will hyper focus on only that lit RPG series. But I do want to get into. I do want to stay in the horror realm. I do enjoy this space.
Yeah.
I feel like I found myself in the horror, genre. I feel like this is where I belong.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And as somebody who's like not new to being interviewed, what's one question that nobody ever asks you that you wish they did?
Oh wow. I wish someone asked me, "Are you okay?" No one ever asked me that. And I think as a man, we need to be asked that more frequently. And I think mental health is so important. And I think we need to ask. I can't speak for women or whoever you are, but I can speak for myself as a man. Ask the next man if they're okay. Just ask them. I wish people would ask that and listen them out, hear them out. There's nothing wrong with pouring or saying something. I just wish someone would ask me, "Are you okay?" Because sometimes I'm not okay. And sometimes I want people to ask me, "Are you okay?" I don't want the expectation of the world being, "You're a man, you're meant to be a block." I want people to ask me and ask other people that. So yeah, it's always related to mental health, man. I just honestly do wish, it's not just for me, but people would ask other people, girls on girls, men to girls, girls to men, "Are you okay?" That's a question I wish that would be asked more frequently, Yeah. So that's the question I wish I was asked more frequently, because sometimes I'm not in a good mental state. But I think we should be asking each other more frequently, "Are you okay? How are you? How are you doing today?" And actually listen,
Yeah, that's the big part. Not just, "Are you okay?" and then expect them to say, "Oh, everything's fine," and move on with the story.
Yeah.
But just to be there and open the space to actually listen to them and see how they're really doing. I gotta be honest, I wasn't expecting that question, and I absolutely love it. And I think it speaks a lot to your character, because there's so much more to you than just what's on social media and what's in this book. You're a human, and there's a lot more to you. You're a father, you're a business owner, and with all of these things that you are, 20 years from now, when things are much different in the world, what is something that you hope people know about David Gulasi?
I really hope that in the future that they knew, like if we're going 20 years from now, Charles, that's a deep question, my friend. What do I want people to think about me? I guess I would want people to know that I've always been there for them. As an author, I wish people to know that I've always supported other authors. I've always wanted to be known as the person that helps, that's always around. And yeah, I want to be successful in 20 years. And I don't want people to look at me as a guy who's too successful to access. I want people to know that I'm accessible by everyone. And that's just something I want to be known for. I want to be available for anyone. Whether I'm an author or not, I want to be there for people. Because I grew up with my dad always being there for me, my mom always being there for me. I want to repeat that for people I don't know. Even on social media, like I want people to ask me any question any day, and I want to be available all the time. So I want to be known as the guy who's always been around.
And chat, if you have any questions for David, let's go ahead and open it up. And I think now would be a great time for that.
Yeah.
How do you handle negative reviews?
How do you handle negative reviews? It's so vulnerable putting yourself out there.
I like negative reviews. I laugh at them. At the beginning, I thought, "Oh, what's that? It's a negative review. Oh, well, that's fine. They read it. They bought it. I made money off their negative review, which is fine. And I appreciate them for paying for it. I don't hate it. You can't be good at everything. And you're not going to you can't be a people pleaser. So I like them. I don't mind them. My wife doesn't. She's afraid of negative reviews. Yeah, I don't tell her. Who's the artist for the book cover? Uman. So Uman is from Indonesia. Saitili, I think his last name. I put him in one of my videos. He's already in there. You can go have a look. He's one of my artists. Yeah. How many songs inspired your writing? Oh, man. Metallica, dude. Everything Metallica. Like, I'm a massive Metallica fan. Yeah. Did you guys ever watch Pacific Rim?
Yeah.
It's been a while, but I've seen it. Yeah.
Okay. Do you guys remember the main theme song for Pacific Rim? I don't know if
I
you
think I
remember
do.
it. It was such a sick soundtrack. That track helped me write my books, man. Like I just put it on repeat. Like it just got my dopamine in every single minute, you know?
I'm going to
I
listen to
gotta
that
listen to
soundtrack
it.
while I reread this book.
Yeah.
Yes. Real quick, too, I just wanted to jump in and say somebody asked about the negative comments. I just want to make a point that David loves to share them with us, too. He sends them in the group chats, and we just laugh together, and it's incredible.
How do you get out of writer's block? I've never had one yet because I've only written one book. Like I can't tell you I've had writer's block because it hasn't happened yet. But yeah, it hasn't hit me yet because I've only written one. Are there any authors that have inspired your writing? Oh wow! I mean, Asimov, King, Dean Ling. My God, Dan Brown. I will say James Rollins now because I'm thinking of him and I'm reading his books now. And Sandstorm is actually something I'm reading. I'm up to chapter 3. Yeah, but they're not all horror authors. Matt Dinniman is one of my biggest inspirations. Matt Dinniman, I know he's not like a classic or Matt Dinniman is one of my biggest inspirations. I absolutely love everything about him and everything he's done as an indie author. Did you guys know he's still an indie author? He's been published, but he owns the rights to his books. He hasn't sold them.
I didn't know that. No.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I found this
was not
out.
aware.
He owns all the rights to his books. He hasn't sold it, but he gives them the right to print. So he's still the owner of the Dungeon Crawler Cast series, which is phenomenal, which is
I think
great.
that's the dream, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is the statue behind you scratching its rear end?
The wooden model.
It does look like it.
Oh,
Who
man.
was that, Teeks?
Tell me you have ADHD without telling me you have ADHD. Will you ever hire an Australian audiobook narrator? Never say never, right? Never say never, but I don't know. Like, you know, Shane, I don't know, man. Maybe, I don't know. I might.
I got to tell you, because I've heard you talk about this in the past, and I have to say, I'm speaking for all Americans right now. We love the Australian accent. We absolutely love it. So I would, if I had an Australian narrating a book, I would be listening to it. I would absolutely love it.
Have you listened to He Who Fights Monsters?
Not yet, no.
The narrator is
I've heard.
phenomenal. Dude,
I'll get in it today.
I DNF the crap out of that book. But the narrator, dude, he got me through it. You know, he's awesome. He's on here. He's on this platform. But I didn't like the story. It was just not for me. But yeah, no, I might use an Australian, especially for the Lit RPG series that I'm going to be putting out. It's going to have a ridiculous name, like Kebab Boy or some shit like that, like something dumb, really dumb, and it's going to be an awesome series. I'm going to use a very Australian style. So that most likely will have an Australian narrator, probably. We'll see. I love Solival, bro. The narrator for 1041 is phenomenal.
Oh, yeah. He was perfect for that book.
Like, he was made for it, dude. He was phenomenal. I'm thinking of signing a contract with him, getting him locked into freaking the next 2 books I'm gonna have because I really like him. I don't want him disappearing on me. You know what I mean?
Be your
I gotta
Jeff
go
Hayes.
full- Yeah, he sounds a bit like Jeff Hayes.
Yeah, I can hear some similarities.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it was awesome.
So, you know, as we wrap up, is there any last thing that you want the audience to know? Anything about where to get your books, things that are coming out, projects?
I just want to say, honestly, God, like, thank you for being a part of this journey with me, whether you bought the book or not, whether you're just following me on TikTok or, you know, you're following Leo or Charles. Like, honestly, this community is phenomenal. I do hope you all read book 2. I feel like I feel like book one I did as a quick fluke. I feel like book two is gonna really show where my writing skills are at. If you read the beta, it's nowhere anything like the beta anymore. It's changed so much. It's changed ridiculously. The ending, everything's changed. Everything. I feel like book two, if anything, I don't want to talk big, but book two shows my real writing skills come out in book two, you know? And there's a lot of things in there I really hope people would connect with. And just, yeah, thank you for sticking by me. I guess that's, what else can I say, man? Like, I don't know what else to say. Just like, thanks. And if you want to buy the book, buy it. If you don't want to buy it, let me know and I'll send you a copy. Because I'm like that. Like, it's a bad part of me, but I also love it, you know. And anyone listening to this, I still got 100 free audiobook promo codes. Let me know and I'll send it to you. DM me. Yeah. But you got to follow
Awesome.
Leo and Charles. You have to follow at least me as well. I mean, come on, please, you know.
Right. Give every one of us a follow.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, David, man, I'm so
for
glad
having
that we got to do this and got to kind of talk with you a bit more. We always go back and forth in group chat, but to actually get to talk to you and like hear each other, you know, talk, it's been
Yeah,
fun. And thank you everybody else for joining in. As you can see, everyone's excited for book two. I know I am. I'm sure Charles is. But man, yeah, just thank you.
And thank you for the amazing professional interview, guys. Like, these questions are ridiculous. Like, guys, do you see Alex telling in the group to vote? Yeah, vote for the 1041 competition. Vote.
Vote for
Don't
me.
watch. Vote.
Yeah, Charles, you're in there, right?
Charles was smart.
I'm
He
in
put
that
his kid
competition
in there.
too. Yeah. So listen, everybody, thank you for coming in today. We really appreciate it. This was Book Talk episode 2 with David Gulasi, the author of 1041, a fantastic horror novella. I cannot wait to see you all on the next Book Talk episode. Take care.
See you guys.